Okay.
Hey, I'm Robin Gully.
I'm John Justin.
We are your council people from Ward 2, here to give you the council recap. We started the night with an Economic Development Authority work session. The main thing that we talked about in the EDA work session was a proposal for a really big development project that's a public-private partnership between the city of West St. Paul and a developer called Greco. We're pretty excited about this, actually.
Yeah.
So some people will have strong feelings. It has some housing attached to it, but the thing that we're very excited about here on City Council is the fact that it's going to have a lot of public features. So this is all very preliminary.
Yep.
We're in the really early stages, but they've developed a beautiful potential site plan for us that includes things like a water feature, an amphitheater, space for food trucks, a pavilion,
13,000 square foot sit down restaurant, some coffee house, some other potential things for down the way, kind of a promenade that's designed for walking rather than driving to enter into the site. It's a big thing.
project.
And I would encourage people, because it's not actually, the PowerPoint is not in the agenda, but if you watch that first part of the meeting, you'll be able to see the PowerPoint presented so you can kind of get the scope and the feel of the thing, and some of the amenities are there. Obviously, this is going to get way more fleshed out as we go. We're on the preliminary side of it, but they really seem to take everything that we'd looked for and really incorporate, I think, everything I saw into the plan, which is pretty great. And then now the rubber hits the road and we keep moving forward and see where we go and what works and what doesn't and what fits. But
so if you want to see what this project has the potential to look like, this particular developer has just completed a project out in Champlin. They did the Centennial Lakes project, if I remember, or was that like a model?
I can't remember, but the Champlin one I can guarantee is right.
They definitely talked about,
and they did talk about places that we could look at, and they presented a couple things of other projects they did, so you could dig deeper in and take a look deeper at those projects. That's also in the PowerPoint they gave. And then again, as we move forward, this is going to get much more, right. Shovel in the ground side rather than big aerial view size.
I don't think we said this. We kind of buried the lead on this. This is at the site of what was going to be Hy-Vee.
Yes.
And what used to be the Y. So we are excited about this in large part because it's an opportunity to create a new public space in a place where we had a gathering space before and we no longer have it. And so we're pretty excited for the potential to work with this developer to create something that folks will really appreciate and will be a year-round feature for our city.
Absolutely.
After that, we moved on to the open council work session, where I kind of mixed up what we were going to talk about.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. That's fine.
So we had the Dakota County Crisis Center folks in to talk about the work that they are doing in partnership with West St. Paul on mental health and caring for people in our community. And I just want to say first that, one of the things that they really emphasized is that the work that they're doing is caring for people who are part of our community, right? So they are talking about the potential of building a new crisis care center on the site of the Dakota County Northern Service Center here in West St. Paul. That would have 15 beds of intensive residential treatment for folks who are experiencing mental health emergencies, but would also have the opportunity to take care of people who need long-term care, people who are in crisis. What they talked about that I really loved was the work that they do to create wraparound care for folks who need support all the time, and then also the work that they're doing to make this a place that people can really go and rest and heal and get themselves to a better place where they're in good shape to go back into the community if they can.
And some things to mention is these would be people that did not rise to the level of hospitalization sort of care. It'd either be people that have been hospitalized, been treated, and are now re-entering into their communities, or people that did not rise to that level of need. Just so people understand the sort of things that would be going on there. And the other thing that I find good news is that it's replacing a parking lot, which is always better than coming and taking a portion of our city that we might be able to do something else with. So this is replacing a parking lot at the Northern Service Center. So you're not taking away usable land for development or projects or anything else. You're not tearing down residential. You're not tearing down existing retail. You're really creating a building without displacement. And I think that's an important thing when we have that opportunity to not displace something. I'm always a big fan of it. Kind of like the outlot buildings that we're seeing on Robert Street that are replacing parking lots. The more that we do, better for the environment, better for, bringing better things to our city and keeping the space that we can use and need. So I thought that was another important thing to kind of mention there.
Yeah, and it's a county project on a space that's already
owned by the county.
Owned by the
exactly.
County. So, the next thing we talked about was talking about our THC ordinance.
Oh, nope. Explore West St. Paul Days was next.
This is even better.
And a report on Explore West St. Paul Days. We can make this pretty quick. There's kind of no way you can't measure it as a success, much to, I think, the shock of everybody up there.
And much to
it paid for itself because of the sponsorships and the partnerships we did. I was expecting to get the bad news of or not bad news, but the news of hey, was it worth it to spend $10,000 or $15,000 on this? But actually the event broke even. That's amazing for a first year event. And again, staff did an incredible job. There's no other way this happens. And so I would say, it looks like we might be doing some changes for next year, certainly changing the time period to June rather than August. So that will hopefully bring back, school bands, because they'll still be doing it. In August, we couldn't get any school bands because they don't do that at that point. Moving the fireworks potentially to Friday. We did all hear all the comments that we got from people about fireworks on a Thursday. Fun, not fun if you're putting a kid to bed, not fun if you're getting up in the morning. So hopefully Friday will be less of a disruption for families and people that work. And I know people that work on Saturday, like me, so we can't give it to everybody, but it's probably less effect, certainly for school-age children and things like that. So,
and they lined it up with ISD 197, so it'll be the days after ISD 197 gets out of school.
Yeah, exactly.
So it'll be a fun time to celebrate with all of our kids as they're getting out of school, and we're really excited for it.
And onward to intoxicating THC ordinance round 74 or whatever we're on at this point.
Something like that.
I don't know how much more there is to say that we haven't covered before. We did some clarification on some stuff. There's still a bunch of, I'm not going to lie to you, there's a bunch of stuff that kind of doesn't make sense, but it's not our doing. It's just the nature of the sort of open-ended weirdness of not having really gotten this fleshed out before it suddenly dropped into everybody's lap. So we're doing our best to make things make sense. There are certain things that this is going to change. I think we all know that this is an ordinance that we're getting in place. We're probably going to be revisiting it as the legislature changes aspects of it, takes away things, adds things, changes who can sell things. So it's evolving is being kind. It's chaos, but we're trying to make the chaos workable,
right?
Both for our law enforcement, for our retailers, for the people in town that might be selling this, and making everything clear. I'd encourage that we really do a big outreach sort of thing to people that are getting involved with this and help educate them, because I'm still not understanding some of these things, and we've been looking at it multiple times. So I don't want any of our retailers to be put in a bad position because of making a mistake,
right?
An honest mistake, and now suddenly they're in trouble for it, either at our level or more importantly at some state level. So it's going to be, I really hope the educational piece is a big key thing. And we'll be getting the actual solid thing in front of us sooner than later, with a target of, I believe, all this licensure starting on the 1st of next year. So rolling it out in January. Until then there's a moratorium. Nobody can add it right now until we have this, and then there'll be licensure and fees and all of that fun stuff. But that's my THC intoxicating update for this week. Till next time.
I just have to say, I can see that Wendy, who has been kind enough to hold the camera for us, her arm is getting tired.
So tired.
Wrap it up is what we're getting.
Okay, so we're going to jump right into the council meeting.
Parks Master Plan, real quick. We're going to send out a request, an RFP for people to come in. Request for participate. I don't know what the piece is. Proposal. That's it. To both
oh my God, this
look.
Is so exciting.
Yeah, to both look at our Parks Master Plan, which is a huge thing, and incorporated in that will also be exploring the viability of a community center, because we've heard that people really want it. We understand that, we have to, and my argument is we have to have these numbers, because right now we're just saying, yeah, we'd love to do that, or no, we can't do that. We need to have the actual numbers for two reasons. Number one, to see how reasonable it is. It's probably not reasonable for West St. Paul alone to foot the bill. It just isn't. But if we have the numbers and the gap between what we can do and what other people can do, then we can start to partner up, and we can actually have real conversations with the legislators, with other cities around us, with the county, potentially with other, it's good. But we need that number. And if we don't have that number, we're just going to keep waving our hands and saying we'd love to. That'd be really nice. We don't know even what the reality on the ground is. And that's what we got to get to. So that's the purpose of that. And then also we folded into a park study, which we 100% need to do already. So it's more efficient to just do it all in one bang.
I mean, what I want to say about this is mainly we hear you. We hear over and over and over again that we need more community spaces and that we need a community center, and we are like doing what we can to try to figure that out. And this is just like the very beginning of a potential process. But here we are. We have to start there. So then we moved into the council meeting. First thing I want to say is just welcome to our new police officer, Anthony Tonda, who is from West St. Paul and was very enthusiastically cheered on by his family.
Yeah, there were a lot of people in the room for that one.
So welcome.
Which is a nice way to see a lot of people in the room. Normally you see a lot of people in the room as a council person, you get worried. That's the nice way to have a lot of people in the room. Normally you figure, what have we done now? And then we brought back Outstanding Property Awards, which is something we used to do. We put it on hold for COVID for 2 years, where we just have submitted by the public. People are submitted, and we take a look, and we just reward. We give an award to and a Menards gift card.
Menards gift card.
To people that have really done a great job with their property, either improving it or just maintenance. The pictures that we saw were pretty spectacular. Do we have those names?
So shout out to Greg and Kathy Moore on Edith Drive, to Julio and Sarah Cenicieros at 18th and
on Stryker Avenue.
And I guess it's in the packet, but anyway.
Yep.
And Riverview Baptist Church on Moreland Avenue.
Yep.
Thank you to all of you for that super work that you've done on your property. We had comments. We have the charity hockey game coming up.
October 8th, $5 entry. Silent auctions.
Police versus fire.
New ice arena. You could get a chance to see that.
Yes.
And
all the
remodeled.
money goes to the American Cancer Society. So you can't go wrong. Good way to spend the night. That is October 8th at 3 p.m. Not in the evening, I guess. But anyway. These are
really not the most exciting new business in the world, and it was very, very fast. We tabled a change in how we're doing our zoning application fees, because apparently we were about to do something we can't do, so we're not going to do that. Robert Street snow removal, we have to do that every year for the people that get assessed for that. Street improvements on Crusader, just basically setting a time that we're going to be talking about those assessments. October 24th, I think, was what they were saying. And then a site plan to add a rear parking lot at 1675 Livingston, which is a CDA property, the Loney Manor, I think it's Colleen Loney Manor.
Loney Manor. Yes.
All of which was pretty uncontroversial and moved pretty fast. Which brings us to EDA, and we get to tell you about one thing and not tell you about something else. So, fun.
We were able to award an exterior grant application to Amore Cafe, to the building
owner that Amore Coffee is in, for signage, for a bunch of other stuff.
Yes.
Which again, these exterior grants, we want to give this money out. Please apply for exterior grants. Like, it's what the money's in the EDA for.
Yes.
And it's a great program. I really encourage people to look into it if you own a building in West St. Paul.
Absolutely.
And then we had a closed session, and you don't get to know about that. But you will at some point.
You will.
But not today.
Yes. So thank you everyone so much, and as usual, reach out if you have any questions or comments or ideas, or if you heard anything that you want to talk more about. And otherwise, we'll see you in a couple weeks.
And thanks for being our camera person, Wendy.
Thank you, Wendy.
Our rambling.
Really appreciate it.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.